This episode of Running Down the Clock is brought to us by Busy Bee Vegan Skincare. Busy Bee is an all-natural skincare line dedicated to healthy, vegan, plant-based skincare and overall wellness. They offer a selection of handcrafted body scrubs, butters, and washes that not only make your skin glow, but smell amazing. Their unique all-natural scents include gingerbread, ruby grapefruit, caramel cake, and morning latte. So why not treat your skin to something fresh and all natural? Head over to shopbusybeevegan.com today. And as a special bonus, Busy Bee is offering listeners of this podcast a 15% discount on your first order with the code ORDINARYPODCAST. Welcome to Running Down the Clock, where we break down all of this week's big news, events, and controversies from the National Football League. Over the next 45 minutes, we will give you basic fan perspective and opinion on the most important stories and moments happening now. So, let's start the clock. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Running Down the Clock. I am Tyler Walzak. I'm here with Poya Reisi. We are talking AFC West. AFC West, Los Angeles Chargers, Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs, Las Vegas Raiders. Puya, this has to be the best division in football, no?
They are stacked with good players on all teams here. There's a lot of talent in these.
And let's go with the reason why.
The quarterbacks
there
alone.
We go. The quarterbacks alone. Because they got the newest quarterback in this division is Russell Wilson with the Denver Broncos. And I think that is why, I mean, there's a bunch of additions that everybody had in this division, but Denver Broncos going out and getting Russell Wilson was huge. It was massive news, probably the biggest news of the offseason. He changes this team. They had Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon as halfbacks. Javonte Williams was a rookie last year. It's his second year. He could be a breakout candidate for a workhorse running back this year. Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton back at wide receiver. Their defense is good. It's always been good in Denver. This team immediately goes from non-playoff to almost playoff contender with Russell Wilson. Do you agree with that comment?
I would, except the fact that I probably still put them last in this division. So
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, they could come out ahead of the Chargers.
What? Okay, oh my God, we are going to have a great 45 minutes for everybody because I completely disagree with that stupid ass comment you just made. I think the Chargers win this division. I think the Chargers are Super Bowl ready. I think that the Denver Broncos are better than both the Chiefs and the Raiders. And I'll tell you why, because there's one team in this division that only got worse this offseason, and that was the Kansas City Chiefs once they lost Tyreek Hill.
Correct. I agree. I think the Chiefs they went the other direction. However, they were still ahead of everybody in this division.
What do you mean? The thing with the Chiefs? No, that's bullshit.
They were.
The thing
they
with the
were
Chiefs
ahead of everybody. So now they're just getting back on par.
No, they're not, because they don't have any wide receivers on that team. The beautiful thing about the Chiefs was, sure, Patrick Mahomes, top 3 quarterback, but it was because Travis Kelce had to be double teamed. Tyreek Hill had to be double teamed. Now, that means there's always going to be someone open to catch balls, or those guys are going to be open to catch balls. But now it's double team Travis Kelce and throw the ball to who? Juju Smith-Schuster. He hasn't been good for 3 years.
Maybe Andy Reid will get some offensive explosion out of him.
Maybe
I don't know for sure.
Andy Reid will get some offensive explosion
I like Andy
out
Reid
of
as a
him.
coach. I like Andy Reid as a coach.
I do too.
I do
too. He's got one Super Bowl.
He always puts out exciting teams offensively.
Sure. But this is the only team in this division that's taken a step back. Everyone else has moved forward.
My point was, when everybody else steps ahead of everybody, now
everybody else went out and got a big name for their team, except for the Kansas City Chiefs.
I agree. Now, I'm not saying they're going to run away with the division like they have in years past.
You think they win it, though?
I don't know if they win it, actually. This is such a good division.
Okay, so wait a minute.
I want the Raiders to win. I've always
want them to win, or you think they will win?
I think my wants will translate into.
You're manifesting it. You're
exactly.
manifesting your Raiders to win this division based on the podcast that you and I do for fun at what time is it? 1:38 a.m. on a Tuesday night.
That's Pacific time. Think
That's
about what time it
Pacific
is
time.
Eastern.
It's 4:30. People are waking up in 24 hours. They get their fix of running down the clock. So what do you think makes the Raiders, because they went out and got Devontae Adams, that makes them all of a sudden the division winning team?
No, I think logically speaking, I don't know. This whole division looks so even to me right now that I wouldn't be shocked if anybody else, any of the teams won it.
What has Derek Carr proven though? Why has he proven to you that he can win games?
He hasn't proven he can win games. He can prove he can put up numbers. But yeah, you're right. He hasn't won a lot in his career, but he also hasn't had a great team around him for a lot of his career.
No,
they've lost players. Like, I mean, that organization is an organization that has lost players. They've had a lot of issues. Maybe, I don't know. I never thought John Gruden was the worst coach, but a lot more is coming out now that people didn't like him. They made some, they tried to pick up Antonio Brown that time, thinking it'd be a good move. Didn't work out.
I don't think it's that people didn't like him. I think it's that he didn't like people.
He didn't like people.
Yeah. It's not that people didn't like him. He did not
like
people.
But I mean, it's hard to play for a guy when they don't like you. That kind of thing.
And that was a famously horrible decision because they signed him for like 10 years, $100 million, and he lasted 1.5, maybe 2 seasons. Now it's Josh McDaniels, who is a Bill Belichick protege. We talked about how those guys fail consistently. Matt Patricia, Flores, they're all ended up being bad. I like Flores, actually, so I don't want to shit on him, but he's not a head coach anymore. They don't do well. Bill Belichick guys do not do well. Why?
Somebody's got to break that cycle.
Why?
Somebody's got to be the first in their family to graduate university, right? It could be him. Somebody's got to do it.
Okay, so this is you manifesting that again.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know enough about his coaching to say that. I do like a few things on the Raiders. We talked about Hard Knocks before. If you ever watched the Raiders one, there was guys like Hunter Renfrow and Max Crosby who were a little bit cusp guys on the team at that point.
Now they're superstars. These
guys are staples on that team.
Hunter Renfrow, I very much like him.
Business being as good as he is.
He looks like a dude that is a failed PGA golfer. And he's out there running routes perfectly, catching balls down the middle, taking them out for an extra 11 yards, yards after catch, if you don't know what yak means. But I think that Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow are a very good combination at wide receiver. I wouldn't put them up in the top 10 combination, but I think that Devontae Adams, obviously top 2, top 3 wide receiver in the league, he is best friends with Derek Carr. They went to college together. They played together. They live beside each other. They're next door neighbors in Las Vegas. Great. That's a good story. Hallmark will buy it. But does that actually mean that they're going to be good on-field product?
You never know. You don't know how the relationship is. If that gives them the extra motivation to put in a little more work outside of training, outside of game time, to get their games to the next level, yeah, that could be. That relationship, if they can build a better relationship there, for sure, it could translate to that. I'm not saying that it guaranteed will.
I bet they have a great year together. I think Devontae Adams is on par with where he was with Aaron Rodgers, and I think it just makes Derek Carr better. I don't know if it gives them more wins. I like Josh Jacobs as a running back as well, but and they have a rookie kid that is taking away some of that.
So they made the playoffs last year. Do you think they don't, and they didn't get worse as a team, they got better as a team. Do you think they don't make the playoffs simply for the fact Chargers and Broncos got better?
I think the Los Angeles Chargers are going to go to the Super Bowl this year. I think that
I could see Herbert having.
I love Justin Herbert, but I'm also a guy that falls in love with quarterbacks in college. I was a massive Joey Harrington fan, which this is the second time I've mentioned him on our podcast, and he never needs to be mentioned. But Justin Herbert also went to Oregon.
We've ever talked about.
They both went to Oregon. Yeah, that's also true. So, and also living in Vancouver, you see a little bit more Oregon fandom and you get to talk about them a little bit more. But I love Justin Herbert. He is your prototypical NFL quarterback. Tall, handsome, smart. He doesn't shy away from pressure. I think this is his third season, maybe his fourth season. I think this is his breakout year. I love Mike Williams. I know that he's kind of underachieved, but Keenan Allen is a guy. He's a top 10 wide receiver in this league. Austin Eckler should be a top 5 fantasy draft pick if you play fantasy football. He is going to have a huge year. I think that the defense with Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack are going to be stellar. Asante Samuel at the cornerback position. I love this Los Angeles Chargers team, and it would be super cool to see a Rams Chargers all LA Super Bowl. I don't know if that will happen, but I think the Chargers are my favorite. I will be sort of rooting for the Los Angeles Chargers to go deep into the playoffs because I also love those powder blue Charger uniforms.
I mean, the more I'm looking at this division, it's a coin flip.
It's an unbelievable division.
It's going to be a great division to watch.
It's every game. This is the thing about the NFL. It sucks to have to do it, but every time they're going to play, every team plays the other team once at home and once away. All of these games should be primetime games, Monday night games or Sunday night games, because it is going to be amazing football every single time these two teams from this 4-team division face off against each other. And I don't know how you not turn the TV onto that because they're all good at any given Sunday. Such a cliche. I just fell into it, but they're so good on paper. All of these teams are good. And you know that one of them is going to have a miserable season. I think that is probably going to be the Raiders, but I think I would take a flyer bet that the Chiefs are the worst team in this division this year.
Yeah. I think
they're the only team that didn't get better. They're the only team that didn't get better. Everybody else went out and got better. The Chargers went out and got Khalil Mack. Broncos went out and got Russell Wilson. The Raiders went out and got Devontae Adams. Those are huge names, and the Kansas City Chiefs only got rid of a huge name. I don't know how does that. I don't get how that translates.
This was my analogy. The Kansas City Chiefs were literally one step ahead of the Raiders and Chargers, who were standing beside each other, and the Broncos were 2 steps back.
The Broncos were bad last year because they had Drew
They took
Lock
2 steps forward. Kansas City took 1 step back, and now they're all just going to duke it out.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun.
It's entertainment for the rest of us to watch.
It's going to be so much fun. I wish that the Las Vegas Raiders had more of that like 90s team where they show up and like they're just mean looking and huge and they hit you in the mouth and they hit you after the whistle. They take stupid penalties and they just win games.
Bill Romanowski?
Yeah. I just don't see that in this team, and it makes me kind of not like them a lot. But I don't know. That also is a new football. I don't know. I don't think Derek Carr is very good. His brother is terrible. And I think he did have I think he had half a season where he was kind of in an MVP talk and then he got hurt, but he hasn't put anything together since then. I think he's the worst quarterback in this division.
I agree. On paper, yeah. From what's proven, he is. I mean, Herbert, just because he hasn't played that long, but his stock has only been rising.
Herbert is the best
since he's playing.
Oh, I don't
since he's been playing. He's only on an upward trajectory. So,
who's the best quarterback in this division then?
I'm gonna go with Mahomes just for he's the only actually.
Yeah, those
2 of them have
guys.
Rings. 2 of them have rings.
Yeah,
but one of them, as I mentioned on a previous one, gave away a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I think, that's a tough quarterback division. I think Derek Carr is the worst quarterback by default, just because the other 3, Mahomes is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Russell Wilson's probably a Hall of Fame quarterback. I think when all's said and done, Justin Herbert is a Hall of Fame quarterback. I think that Derek Carr is the worst just by default. I think he's a very good quarterback. He's a starting quarterback in this league.
I agree.
But
I agree with your point. He's I think if people were going to pick, if it was the schoolyard and you're picking quarterbacks right now,
Derek Carr is the last one picked.
I think he goes 4th.
He's the last one picked. But the other thing about Russell Wilson going to this team, it's not like because he left Seattle with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. It's not like he's taken a step back with Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton. Those guys are good wide receivers. Jerry Jeudy is an up and coming, I think his third year. He is going to have a huge season this year. Devontae Adams, I see a lot of Devontae Adams in Jerry Jeudy. And I think that this is scary for the league that he now has a quarterback in Russell Wilson and a running back. So it's like that's the best thing about a running game is having a great passing game. The best thing about a passing game is having a great running game. And the Broncos have that now with Javonte Williams, second year in the league, and Melvin Gordon, who's been around for a while, coming in to usurp him for 33 to 40% of the snaps. But Jerry Jeudy, I think, could have a breakout wide receiver year.
Yeah, I like Jerry Jeudy. I think Cortland Sutton, he had a little bit of an injury issue last year. No, he missed.
Yeah, he did, but also no one was throwing him the ball. Like Cortland Sutton's a very good wide receiver. He was drafted in the second round in like 2018. He's a very good wide receiver, but there's nobody throwing him the ball in the last 3 years. So now he has Russell Wilson, and they're going to give Russell Wilson freedom to make calls on offense.
Yeah. So one criticism I heard about Russell Wilson, and again, this is just shop talk at work or something, right? Mind you, I work with a bunch of season ticket holders for the Seahawks.
Yeah, if there's anything that we hear off like at normal life, it's Seattle Seahawks talk.
Yeah. Now, they need a specific offensive line for a guy like Wilson, just because his method of scrambling throws everybody off. And why was he the most sacked quarterback since he started in the league?
Is he?
I think he is. We can double check the stats. He's up there.
I've heard that about so many people. I've heard that about Derek Carr. I've heard that about Matthew Stafford. Russell Wilson probably just scrambles a lot and gets sacked and tries like the Barry Sanders thing. Like Barry Sanders has probably the most yards lost in the NFL because he took more risks than everybody else. But I don't know. I think that's Seattle Seahawks. Did they tell you this after they traded him away?
No. So there's always a criticism in the last multiple years that Seattle needs an offensive line. And as they work on it, people just criticize him just because it's hard with his style of scrambling. It's hard to be a good offensive line. Now...
What? Baltimore's got a great offensive line.
I've played offensive line for precisely 0 seconds of my existence. I have no idea what these, the intricacies of it.
No, I mean, I'm not asking you to tell me about the intricacies of being an offensive lineman. I'm saying, why can guys that scramble like Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, why do those guys not have that same criticism, but Russell Wilson does? Is that what you're trying to also say?
Because when you scramble and go forward to get the gain, you slide, you don't get sacked. If you scramble and try to make the throw, to buy time to make the throw, you make either poor decision throws or you get sacked.
Is that what he's doing?
Sorry?
Is that what Russell Wilson does? Is that the criticism?
Well, yeah, he's not getting sacked on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
Well, you can only get sacked on one side of the line of scrimmage.
That's what I mean, right? So, like, that's the criticism there, right? It's trying to extend the play too long. Kyler Murray and
so he holds the ball. He holds the ball too long. That's what you're saying.
Jackson,
he holds the ball too long.
They're scrambling and then they're making a break for it.
Yeah, they run more than they will wait. But that's what different. Isn't that what you
They've
want?
Given up on that throw, and like once they've decided to make the scramble, they're gone.
But that's what they teach you is to throw the ball more than run it.
For sure.
For longevity of a quarterback.
But also, like the Tom Brady thing, when the throw's not there early, just get rid of it. It's gone and make it up in the next play.
Right. But out of all the guys that scramble, out of the Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, there's only one guy in there that's won a Super Bowl. Russell Wilson. And don't you fucking say there's also only one guy that's lost a Super Bowl. Because I can see you about to say that.
No, I wasn't about to say that. I was going to say that the other guys haven't been in the league as long. But that's also true. Russell Wilson won it pretty early in his career. So
he did. Well, he had a great team. Marshawn Lynch and that defense. Marshawn Lynch and the Legion of Boom. That was
an amazing defense.
A great team. But this but with the Denver Broncos, it's like the Peyton Manning thing. They get Peyton Manning and then they go to the Super Bowl. This makes them playoff contenders. Sometimes
and then they get Peyton Manning and lose to Russell Wilson in the Super Bowl handedly.
Yeah. Do you think
And also, let's be honest, that Peyton Manning era in the Super Bowl, not that Peyton Manning wasn't good for the Broncos, that was the defense that did a lot. That got Von Miller his Super Bowl MVP.
Sure, but I mean, I will no.
Peyton Manning
is arguably the second best quarterback.
I'm just saying that wasn't Indy Manning.
No, but hey, you got to transform if you want to win in this league.
Yeah, I agree.
So will Russell Wilson transform the Broncos into that? Do you think 3 out of the 4 teams make the playoffs? This AFC is tough this year. We should probably go back and look at the teams that we've said are going to make the playoffs.
We've
probably chosen about 12.
One team from most divisions not making the playoffs, and I think the AFC South or something, we got 3 teams not making it. Yeah. Overall, we've
unanimously said the Colts. The Colts are going to make it. The Dolphins are going to make it. The Bills are going to make it. We got Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs making it. You think Raiders are going to make it? That's 7. I don't even know what division we're missing right now. The AFC North. Okay, Bengals and Ravens. So we've got 9 teams making it. I would say the Raiders aren't going to make it, so I'm going to take that away. I'm down to 8. And then I don't know. I don't know what the other ones like. I think there's 8 teams that legitimately can make the playoffs in the AFC. And I think Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs could, but I also think the Chiefs could finish last place in this division.
So last year, the Broncos and Chargers both were, a handshake agreement to tie a game away from both.
No, it was Raiders, Chargers. Sorry,
so that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Sorry, Raiders, Chargers. Who would they have knocked out had the Chargers?
So if the
Chargers went through with the Raiders, who would have they knocked out?
Oh, I don't know. The Colts?
Colts didn't make the playoffs.
Well, that's what I think. That's what it. If the Colts had won, then it would have been a tie between.
No, but I mean, if they tied, the Chargers would have gone through, and another team that did go through wouldn't have. I'm trying to think who that other team would have been.
I don't know. It's probably a quick Google search, but I know that neither of us are going to do that right now.
No. We're on a tight schedule. We can talk about it.
Yeah, people screaming at us while they listen are going, "It's this team. It's this team." No idea what team it is. Maybe it was the Chiefs.
I think their division.
No, because the Chiefs won this division.
Anyway.
Yeah, with it. I would like to go to any of these games this year. I think that the Raiders have that cool new stadium. That also is a plus for their home crowd. So I think they win more home games than they win road games. But I don't know, man. I just think that this division is crazy. There's 3 teams that are going to make the playoffs in this division because it was the Chiefs and the Raiders last year. And I think those are the worst teams in this division now.
The Chargers so quick.
Chargers win, Broncos second, Chiefs third, Raiders last. You're going Raiders first?
I honestly, man, I don't know. It's such a crap. You could put any 4 teams in any order, and I'd say, yeah, I could see that.
Well, yeah, that's the beauty about this division. This is why we kept this division for last. This division is the best division in football by far. Even if you have the Chargers winning 11, the Broncos winning 9, Kansas City winning 9, and the Raiders winning 3, it's going to be the best division in football because those 3, like every game they play against each other is going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. And also, every one of these teams has somebody you want to watch. Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce, that connection, you want to watch that on primetime TV. Devontae Adams, Derek Carr, you want to watch that primetime TV. Russell Wilson, Jerry Jeudy, primetime TV. Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, primetime TV. Like, it's just so many huge names in this division. It's like also, if you play fantasy football, just draft guys from this division. It's going to be the highest scoring division in football.
Speaking of that, we don't touch about it enough. We don't give it the credit it deserves, but defensively.
Yeah.
Which team's got the best defense on this?
The Chargers.
Yeah.
I
Mac
think
and Bosa.
Mac, Bosa, Asante
I
Samuel
didn't
Jr.
see much. I didn't like watching Chicago games just because they were disappointing.
Well,
I didn't
don't look at
see
him
much.
as don't look at him as a Chicago.
I didn't see
Bear.
much from him. And now I don't know if that was just because he was consistently double teamed every single play, where they sacrifice a guy to just cover Khalil Mack, make sure he doesn't get through.
Yeah, the Bears stunk.
Or was it his game diminished from over the last years?
No, I think it was a little bit of a little bit of unhappiness being on a team that was terrible, and the coaching staff of that team, and the fact that he just didn't like it wasn't his best case scenario in terms of what they ran, like 4-3 or 3-4. But I think that he has a huge comeback this year. He is one of the better defensive linemen in families on the other side of that end. That I think that they just rush everybody all the time. That is a terrifying defense to look at as a quarterback. I think that the Broncos are good, but I don't know. The Broncos, like, they have named like Pat Surtain. It's cool because this division has a bunch of guys that have like fathers that played in the NFL. But the Broncos defense is good because the system's always good. I don't know if it's the better one in this division. Kansas City Chiefs defense kind of sucked last year, did it not? I think it was a bad defense last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were supposed to be pretty good over the last few years, and you're right. They did kind of diminish a little bit.
Carlos Dunlap, and Snead is very good, but Justin Reed is amazing. I don't know. I don't like Frank Clark. They got Chris Jones. I don't know the Chiefs defense. This is why I don't like the Chiefs that much. They've got rid of
they lost
best player.
Matthew, no, they lost Matthew too.
Yeah, Tyrann Mathieu. One of them, they lost. Okay, so we're still going on the Chiefs. We just named two guys that are all pro in Tyrann Mathieu and Tyreek Hill, and we still think the Chiefs are gonna. You know what? I don't think the Chiefs make the playoffs this year. I don't think so. Now that I'm looking at this team and the roster they put together and thinking logically and also not logically, I don't know if the Kansas City Chiefs make the playoffs this year. The only thing, the X factor they have is they have Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
So Patrick Mahomes is like Aaron Rodgers, where they don't need to have that many wide receivers. They don't need to have a perfect offense to win games. But Aaron Rodgers is in the NFC North with the Lions, the Vikings, and the Bears. Patrick Mahomes is in the best division in football.
Yeah, he got his work cut out for him this year.
Yeah. And I think this might be one of the years they don't make it. Juju Smith-Schuster stinks. He stinks. I don't know what Chiefs fan out there thinks that he is going to replace a Tyreek Hill, because the Steelers fans are probably laughing at the fact that they think he is.
Yeah, and I guess who's number 2? Marquez Valdes-Scantling?
Yeah, from the Packers, who was the number 3 or 4 guy for the Packers last year.
I like McCole Hardman for his role.
Drops a lot of balls. He drops a lot of balls.
Yeah.
And you hate that about a guy.
I do hate that. I didn't know he's that much. I mean, looking at him for a wide receiver number 3, I've seen a lot of good stuff on that team, especially, though, since they had so many offensive threats. So I guess it just makes them look good. But
well, the thing about this team is that Travis Kelce.
No, you're right. The more we talk about it, I just kind of didn't put any thought to it because they were just, perennial.
Yeah, the Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs. Like, you just have to think that they're good all the time. But in this division, it's not like they just run away with it every year. They're not the favorites this year. I think the Chargers are the favorites this year. Then the Broncos are second, Chiefs, and the Raiders. And now that we're talking about it, I think the Raiders have a better defense than the Chiefs do.
Yeah.
And I think that I don't know. I don't know.
This is the year to dethrone them.
This is the year you can get out of the Chiefs. I think their head coach is better than the Raiders head coach. I don't like Josh McDaniels as a head coach because you know how I feel about Bill Belichick's proteges, but Andy Reid is better. Andy Reid's proteges are amazing.
Andy Reid seems like one of the most likable coaches. He seems like a guy.
He is one of the most likable.
He seems like a guy you want to go to his cookout every weekend after the game or something.
Oh, for sure. That guy he's a player's coach through and through, and I think that that is a good thing for the Chiefs, but I don't know. At some point you would need something better than just good vibes.
No, you're right. The more we
But
look at it,
just look at that Chargers depth chart. It is unbelievable. This team is gonna run away with this division. This is the year they have to, too. Like, there's no excuses this year. They were so bad. Do you remember? They made so many decisions that were terrible.
They moved the team. That's how bad they were.
Well, yeah, that was one of the worst stadiums in San Diego, and like nobody went. And even in Los Angeles, nobody went to the games. But
that was when they were sharing. They had a 30,000 person stadium there.
I know, but the decisions they were making, they were going for field goals when they should be like on 4th and 1 when they had a better chance, and then they were going for it on 4th and 8 when they should be kicking field goals. There's been some weird decisions, but they're sticking with those decisions, and I think it's going to pay off this year because I have so much faith in Justin Herbert this year. I think Justin Herbert's the breakout player of the year. I think that he could have a top 5 MVP season. The guy's he's really good. He's got all the talent in the world. And I think that he, at the end of this year, is the best quarterback in this division. Just for this year, not talent-wise, because Patrick Mahomes, we know what he can do. We know who he is. He'll always be Patrick Mahomes. But I think this year, Justin Herbert has a better year than Patrick Mahomes does. I think Patrick Mahomes gets frustrated this year because he doesn't have Tyreek Hill. He can't just throw it down anymore. Yeah. Juju Smith-Schuster is not a fast guy. I think it was a weird move to get rid of him. I don't know why they did it. And he's talking a lot of shit. That's the
question, though. Why did they? Is it the money thing?
He said they got rid of him. He said that this week is that they just.
I saw that they threw him out like trash. Now, I don't know what he's talking about, just for the fact that it didn't seem that way. But who knows what the real situation is?
I thought the relationship was good. Like after the season last year, I didn't think that they would. Why would you leave Patrick Mahomes if you're Tyreek Hill? Right?
Yeah, I don't have an explanation of what happened there.
If you were a wide receiver. Like, it's the same thing with Devontae Adams when you left Aaron Rodgers, which is also super weird. If you're a top wide receiver in this league, why would you leave the quarterback you've been with the entire time that's made you a top wide receiver in this league? And I only say made you because it's a more important position. He gets to decide who he throws the ball to, whereas you just have to make the play every single time it comes your way. That's the difference between a wide receiver and a quarterback's value, is that a quarterback touches the ball every play. A wide receiver only touches it when it's thrown to them. So they have to make the play more times than not. So if you're a wide receiver that is at the top of his game, why would you leave a quarterback that's also at the top of his game? Why would Tyreek Hill leave for Tua Tagovailoa when he has a Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. It could be something as stupid as a hurt feeling. It could have been something that there was issues in the locker room, the management. Who knows? I mean, maybe he wanted to change. I really couldn't tell you. His answer kind of seemed strange, though. Whatever he posted on social media about.
This is the other thing. He's also started his own podcast, and he's trying to get controversial opinions to have people listen, which is, I think, what you were doing when you talked about the Ravens and being named after Bird. But I digress. That you do have to get some of that clickbait stuff. Yeah, sure. It's factual. That's still named after a bird.
I will read the entire Edgar Allan Poe. Quoth the Raven, nevermore.
That'll be next week's episode. But I just think the Dolphins do win more games than the Chiefs this year. I don't think it's because of Tua over Patrick Mahomes. I just think that their team is better. I don't like this Chiefs team. Travis Kelce is Hall of Fame. Patrick Mahomes, Hall of Fame. But Valdez-Scantling, no. I think he was a product of his environment in Green Bay. McCole Hardman drops a lot of balls, and also he's just one of those, I don't know. He's been around for a while. He's been around in the league for 3, 4. This will be his 4th year. When does he put it together? He's another guy that never puts it together.
I mean, they looked so good while it was all clicking, When they were going to the Super Bowl, All their players look good. The running backs look good.
The also, do you believe in Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
I don't think he's among the top running backs. No,
he's just starting running back. Like he
is, but I take Eckler over him. I take Josh Jacobs over him.
I think Edwards.
Don't know much about Javonte Williams.
Javonte Williams, I would take over both Josh Jacobs and Edwards-Helaire. I think it goes Eckler, Javonte Williams, Josh Jacobs, Edwards-Helaire. I think Edwards-Helaire is the worst running back. So now they have the worst running back. They have the worst wide receiver core and the worst running backs in this division. They have the best quarterback, but he can't be making all the plays all the time. That's how you get into Lamar Jackson territory.
Yeah.
But that being said, this could be a disappointing division if Kansas City Chiefs don't hold up their end of the bargain.
It could be, but here's the thing about the greats in sports. You're throwing Patrick Mahomes in the Hall of Fame thing. I think it's way too early in his career, not because he's not on pace, just because he's just, you don't look that far ahead, right?
But you can tell. You can tell.
But the greats in all sports are the ones who overcome the obstacles. Now, so far, Patrick Mahomes has had a pretty good team around him, where it was just on him to be able to live up to expectations, and he did. He was amazing. He caught the world by storm.
Yeah.
But the thing that makes greats great is they face some sort of adversity in the career. Like you said, this is kind of the reality check, the frustration time. But if he can overcome that and still make it happen, that's what shows you how great of a player he is.
You think this is that year? You think this is the year where they have to? So do you think that people are going to shit all over him if they don't do well this year?
No, I'm not necessarily thinking it's this year, but this could be the learning curve year where he bounces back next year.
Okay, so you think this is the
I think this is going to be the toughest year for him that he's faced in his career.
I agree 100% with that.
Yeah.
I agree 100% with that. And you think that next year he comes back, it's like
and it's the greats in sports that find a way to overcome that.
Yeah.
Rise to the challenge.
But shouldn't he have to overcome that this year instead of having a bad season and then maybe going out and get a wide receiver?
Not necessarily, because we love to jump between basketball. Michael Jordan, he didn't beat the Pistons. It took him a few tries to get there, but they beat up on him until he got tougher and he fought back and he won. Right? And look where he ended up.
Yeah. Did they take Rodman off that team though? At that point, and then they started winning?
I don't think they took Rodman directly off that team. I think they got Rodman out of San Antonio or something.
No, I think they got Rodman out of the Pistons. I think Rodman went to San Antonio after. I don't know for sure. Don't quote me on that.
He went to the Lakers after that. He went to Dallas after that, I think, but it might have been Dallas. Might have gone him off Dallas. I'm mistaken. It was a Texas team.
I don't.
They got him from Texas.
I don't think any of that is true. I don't think any of that's true, but let's go back to the NFL. Let's go back to where we were making our bread and butter. So do you think
I think you're right. You've convinced me, and I'm a stubborn person. So you've convinced me more and more.
The Chargers win this division. Bet.
Yeah, okay. I can see the Chargers win. You've swayed me on that one. Chargers, Raiders, Broncos, Chiefs.
Chargers, Raiders, Broncos, Chiefs. Okay, I got Chargers, Broncos, Raiders, Chiefs. I got Chargers, Broncos, Raiders, Chiefs.
No, we disagree on the Broncos and Raiders now. But is the goal for us to align on something? We negotiate something?
We can't end a podcast episode unless we agree on everything we've talked about for the entire time.
I think, you know what? Some of the people that listen to it have said, the few people I've spoken to, we agree too much.
Yeah.
They say we agree too much.
People don't like when we agree. I don't like when we agree. I hate agreeing with you.
Really?
No, I think we get along on a lot of things. That's why we talk every day. But
I thought you're the only person that ever agrees with me on anything. That's why I'm here.
I only do that to shut you up. Anyways, thank you very much for listening. That was the end of the preseason division previews. Next week, Yeah, because we will be much better when games actually start happening. But next week, Puya, we're just actually going to go free for all. We're going to talk about everything and anything coming up on the games weekends, which you're more excited about, which you're not excited about, the games that are going to suck and the games that are going to be awesome. So listen to that next Thursday because it is kickoff. It'll be Rams Bengals. We appreciate you, everyone, on running down the clock. Have a good night. Running Down the Clock is brought to you by the Ordinary Podcast Network and is every Thursday running until the week after the Super Bowl. We hope you enjoyed enough to subscribe and tune in again next week.